tremendous pride. That's our tagline. We solve big problems.
Yeah.
Number one's COVID. So as you're probably aware, globally, there's 4 manufacturers of the vaccine or providers of the vaccine. In the US, there's 3. Sorry, I'm US centric right now. I have global responsibilities, but I'm US centric. I'm proud to say that all 3 of those organizations, and I can't name them names, but it's publicly available, but I would rather not be the one who volunteers it.
Sure.
But all 3 of those, one's on the West Coast, one's on the East Coast, one we can't identify the location because I've signed some documents saying that. But all 3 of them run Weka because you can do things 10 times faster.
Yeah.
So it's a file system. Not that you really need to do that. It's a way to, at the end of the day, it's a bunch of genomes where you're trying to match up the genome sequencing so that you can create a cure or a vaccine. So the biggest problem is COVID. So number one globally, 70 petabytes. They happen to be in England that has all the information around COVID and all the reactions globally. They stay agnostic as possible, but it's called Genomics England, 70 petabytes. I mean, most large sites are around 10 petabytes. They're 7 times that. They got the information 75 times quicker with us, which is huge.
Yeah.
So at a time when everyone in the world says, I wish there was a vaccine, I wish there was a cure, we're in the eye of the storm, Lee. It's huge. So the biggest problem, and I give out t-shirts that say we solve big problems. And if you become a customer, it says I solve big problems. And when there's a customer, we give out many of those t-shirts, and I usually wear those shirts. But yeah, the biggest thing's COVID, and it's very topical. And to be brutally honest, it's available and it's going to the States now. It should go to the right people first. I'm not in that constituency to decide who those are. I'm sure there's some demographics and parties that have that, and it will probably take longer to disseminate the vaccine. But I'm proud to say that we participate in that wholeheartedly. So that was the biggest problem that's out there. 2 other problems. Sorry, there's other people that are impatient like I am. So traffic's an issue.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, Elon Musk has created a couple of different companies to solve traffic. In fact, he even has an underground company, could go double entendre, called Holes to bypass traffic from those in LA to Vegas and from LA to San Francisco. But no, he has a company that does autonomous vehicles. We help to move from semi-autonomous to autonomous.
Yeah.
So when people were doing commutes or whatever you're doing, the fact that you don't have to have your hand wheel, you could be multitasking if you're so inclined. And that company happens to be the safest vehicle on the road these days.
Yeah.
And the big problems we have, not just for vehicles, that takes care of our lives, but we're also the provider to not just that company and its competitors, but to fleets. So there's actually an autonomous trucking company, Too Simple, and their competitors. We all supply to them because they need to run 10 times faster with Weka. And then, believe it or not, we provide to Airbus autonomous flights.
Yeah.
So fleets, flights, and vehicles. All 3 of them use Weka to do a competitive advantage, be a first mover. And it's all about revenue gain versus cost containment. But so the big problems are traffic, logistics of moving things around. I talked about COVID. And then later today, I'll be doing an interview with Biogen. They're a customer of ours. Sorry, my mother passed away earlier in life than she should have because of multiple sclerosis. I have a brother-in-law, dear brother-in-law, Mark, my wife's brother, who has multiple sclerosis. He's dealing with it every day. And this great company, Biogen, that I'll be doing an interview very similar to what you're doing, uses our product to get the next version of Avonix, their product, out to market. Literally on the Zoom, and the reason I was a little bit late, sorry about that, was with a company that's in the general area that does it for cystic fibrosis, which their treatment, and Alzheimer's. Believe it or not, a lot of people, as we have an aging demographic, Alzheimer's is pretty out there. And what they said earlier on our Zoom was, Kenny, thank you. We have to declare it in our 10Q reports, but you're allowing us to solve the big problem of getting these products to market 1 quarter earlier. And you probably know this, you get about a 10-year window to sell a particular pharmaceutical drug.
Right.
And so you're solving big problems of, if you had Alzheimer's or cystic fibrosis or COVID, you really want a vaccine or a cure. So you're racing time so you can have a better quality of life. So the problems we're solving, Lee, and thanks for teeing it up, is we're trying to provide a better quality of life for everybody so they can have a better legacy by providing a faster ability to provide a cure, whether it be cystic fibrosis, Alzheimer's, COVID, which is front and central, provide a safer experience for driving a personal vehicle, quicker delivery in the case of fleets, or quicker transcontinental in the case of supply chain constraints with flights.